Welcome everyone to Extra Point. This is Jim Fitzpatrick, pastor at Crosspoint. And today we have Dr. Mark Bradley, who's the director of the Pacific Northwest campus of Gateway Seminary. And Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Good to be here, Jim.
Yeah, glad you're here. Most of the people who listen to our podcast attend Crosspoint. Some don't, but most do. And so some of them maybe know a few things about you. But could you, if you would, tell us a little more about yourself and your family and your previous and current ministry outside of your job with Gateway?
Sure. Most of you would know my wife Joy as well, who's been quite active here, and she's a retired school teacher after 36 years and keeping up with grandkids, and she's very busy with ministry to refugees now is the main thing she's doing. And we have 4 children, 3 are biological kids. Jordan, Bethany, and Grace. Jordan's a youth pastor in Gresham, and Bethany's an assistant principal of Battleground High School, and Grace is teaching elementary school here in Vancouver. And our 4th child is Josiah, who some of you know. He's adopted from China. He's profoundly deaf, has cochlear implants. And he's still living at home. He's just turned 22, but lives at home with us. And he works in Washougal for a tech place that makes parts for NASA and military and stuff, and top secret stuff. If he tells us what he's doing, he'll have to kill us. So he does some welding and CNC operation stuff there. In terms of my ministry, aside from seminary, I was a pastor for 25 years, mostly 2 churches, 8 years out in Beaver Creek, Oregon, and 17 years in Pullman, Washington, in a university church. And I've done some interim pastorates. I did some collegiate ministry before my first pastorate while I was still a college student. And right now I'm interim preacher, basically, at Hope International Baptist Church in Portland. I'm not really providing much leadership, just kind of filling the pulpit. They've already called their next pastor, but he's a missionary in Paraguay. So until he arrives, they need someone to at least fill the pulpit, and they're looking forward to the new guy coming. Hopefully they're not looking forward to him extra because they're already not liking me, but anyway, I'm enjoying getting to preach to them each week. It's a multi-ethnic congregation, and so it's kind of slice of heaven to worship with them, see people of many ethnicities in the congregation. It's kind of neat.
That's great. And you're an elder and lead a life group here at Crosspoint?
Yes, yeah. Our life group meets typically on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday nights of the week in our home in the orchards, and we're studying through the book of John pretty slowly and thoroughly. It's what I did my dissertation work in, so it's what I feel most comfortable and expert about. And then, my elder role is still active in meetings that we have about various things we need to do. You typically meet once a month and do that, and then that also brings me into preaching here once or twice a year. Whenever you're willing to give up the pulpit, I'm happy to have a chance as well.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your involvement at Crosspoint, and also the fact that you can go and be an interim pastor from time to time. It's good. Let's talk about Gateway a little bit. Share with us how long you've been there and what are some of the changes you've seen in your time there.
Yeah, I came into this position in January of 2010, so I'm just past the 15-year point here. And changes have been pretty dramatic here. When I first came here, we had 2 other trustee-elected faculty members who were located in the Northwest. And then one of them got moved to California to the main campus to help with their Korean English bilingual program. And then Mike Kuykendall, our other longtime full-time professor, retired recently. And when I say he was full-time, we didn't have enough work for him full-time here, but he was full-time with the seminary. He taught online and would fly to other campuses as well. But now I'm the only trustee elected faculty member here. So the way I supplement our faculty is by bringing in local people like you, Pastor Jim, to teach things for us, and other local pastors who have the credentials. And then we sometimes fly in professors from elsewhere. And then the other just big change overall for us is that students used to come to our campus in person for classes a lot. And back in the day, back when I was a student here, we would have a lot of students, pretty full classroom. And now, because of us delivering things with a remote access option using Zoom, and with all of our classes, all of our degrees being offered 100% online, not as many students come in person. We have students joining us by remote access or just taking online classes. So it's a little lonelier at the campus it used to be, but the program has actually expanded in some ways. We have more degrees now and much more flexibility that I think is really great for our students.
And this has been a pretty good year for numbers, right, in our campus. It feels like we're up.
Yeah.
Total.
We had a surprisingly good recruiting session coming into this spring term. Usually the fall is the stronger recruiting time because fall is kind of the natural time to start school. But we had 16 new students approved for this spring that are enrolled with us. And so our head count this spring is 65. And that's students who live anywhere in the Northwest who are Gateway students. And so I'm not going to see 65 students in person this term, but those are all the students that I relate to and try to support and advise. And some of them are only taking online classes, some of them are only taking classes remote access, and then some will come on campus as well.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things I know about Gateway, and I try to tell other people about it, is that financially it's a good choice for someone looking to go to seminary. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about why that is and maybe how we can compare with some local seminaries in the Portland area?
Yeah, so Gateway's pricing is competitive even without the break that Southern Baptist church members get. We're already pretty competitive with Western Seminary and George Fox and other options. But if you're a member of a Southern Baptist church, like most of the people listening to this podcast, then your tuition cost is underwritten by the cooperative program. Our church gives to the cooperative program, and so if you're a member of a Southern Baptist church, that helps you to get a tuition break. So the regular tuition without the break is $585 per credit. But because you're a member of a Southern Baptist church, your tuition will only be $330 per credit, which is a lot cheaper than taking something at WSU Vancouver or something like that. And then we also have financial aid. So we give financial aid to virtually every student that applies for it. Some don't apply. I don't really totally understand that. Maybe some don't feel like they can afford it, so that's great. Joy is a student right now, and we can afford her tuition, so we're not applying for aid. But yeah, we can give aid to most of our students, and a lot of them get their tuition taken down by another 50%. So it's a pretty sweet deal. If anybody's interested in seminary, we've got the best deal in town for them.
Yeah, that's good. I wanted to ask you that question because I always talk to people that say, well, when we get our finances in order, then I might try and go to seminary. It's like, well, first, that may never happen, right? and secondly, it's not as expensive as people think. Mm-hmm. As you know, my oldest son, Jared, and our daughter, Kelsey, both graduated from Gateway. Right. And, they had all kind of opportunities for financial aid and scholarships and other things. And it really was not a big cost. And they paid for it too. So it didn't cost us anything. But, they were able to do that while they were working part-time and things like that. Mm-hmm. So,
well, also, Jim, a lot of our, it's typical that our students are not just doing school and taking a full load. So if you're just taking one class a term or two classes a term, you're really spreading out the cost quite a bit as well. So it's not as burdensome as people might imagine.
Yeah, it's great, and I'm glad you mentioned the cooperative program too. Well, in addition to saving some money, what are some other advantages or positives about attending Gateway?
Yeah. Well, Gateway is one of 6 Southern Baptist seminaries. The other 5 have the South surrounded. We're the only one in the Western United States. And so, we're affiliated with SBC. All of our trustee elected faculty literally signed a document promising to not teach anything contrary to the Baptist Faith and Message, which is our statement of faith. And so you're going to get conservative scholarship. Gateway Seminary has a strong practical commitment as well. Our tagline is biblical, missional, global, and so we're trying to help people to be practically equipped to make a difference in churches. So we have a lot of church planners come through and missionaries. We're a very ethnically diverse seminary. We have many students who are Korean or Chinese or Hispanic and other ethnicities. I'm teaching an online class right now with 21 students, and 10 of them are non-white ethnic students. So that's fairly common nowadays that we've got a lot of diversity like that. So we want to. Another thing is most of our professors are practitioners. Similar to me, having pastored for quite a while, and then I come to teach. So we know what it's like to be in real ministry. We're not just ivory tower eggheads who have just done nothing but study and we don't know anything about practical ministry. No, we've got people that have been international missionaries with the International Mission Board of the SBC, now teaching missions, and most of our people who are teaching biblical studies and preaching and theology and whatnot have got some kind of pastoral experience in their background.
Mm-hmm. That's good. And Gateway Seminary has a fairly new president, right?
Yes.
I didn't put this down on our list, but can you talk about him a moment? I know he's got a really big class coming up.
Yeah, Adam Groza is our new president, and he has a PhD in philosophy of religion, and he teaches Christian ethics for us is the main thing he teaches. He's also taught apologetic stuff, and he's also taught things related to evangelism with a philosophical and apologetics kind of angle to it. He's young-ish for being in this kind of position. He's 48, or maybe he just turned 49, and he thinks young. He's a very creative guy, very relational, approachable, and just a super sharp guy. And we're excited about the changes he's brought already. He's a little more aggressive about fundraising than our former president, and we think that's going to be a positive thing. Our president before him was a great guy, very effective, but it was fairly common that he'd hear a good idea and he'd say, well, that's a great idea, but we don't have the money for that. And President Gross's attitude is, that's a great idea, and I'm going to go find the money for it. So that's a refreshing attitude he's bringing, and he's working hard at that, and I think that's going to make a big difference. He's also brought a new impetus to partnerships. So he just established a partnership with California Baptist University to help those students be able to just add on some work with us and get a master's degree. And I've been working on a partnership with Resonate Church, which is a church planting network around the West that started in Pullman, actually, and mostly collegiate churches. And so we've just done a customized version of the Master of Theological Essentials degree that allows them to have some electives instead of it all being prescribed. And so that's an illustration of how Adam Groza, our new president, is a little more thinking outside the box and a little more flexible to do what we can do to help people fulfill their mission and get some equipping from us to do it even better.
Yeah, that's great. I thought it was good, too, that you or someone brought him into the Northwest Convention and let him teach a little bit about from his ethics class, because I think the numbers started growing after people I heard many people that were just so impressed and didn't realize that the content and the contemporary nature of some of the issues he talked about. And so, how many are in that ethics class?
Yeah, the class that he's going to teach for us in a couple of weekends, it'll be March 20th through 22nd. We have about 25 will be in the classroom and another 10, I believe, that are going to join us by Zoom. So that's a big class for us nowadays. I mean, in the old days, that's what we used to have in the classroom, but that's good for us now. So that'll be a real dynamic class, and we have about 8 to 10 people who are auditing the class. They're just sitting in. They're not going to get graded. They don't have to take the tests or write the papers, but they're gonna sit in with them. And so we're excited to have the president right here on our campus by the end of this month, and we think that's going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. And I was thinking about how people that are listening, some of them may not have a college degree, but they might be interested in seminary. Is that a possibility for them?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. We are a graduate level institution, so we've got a number of master's degrees, and those require people to have a bachelor's degree. But for each of our master's degrees, we have a parallel diploma program. And so that's for people that don't have a bachelor's degree and they don't want to take the time to go get a bachelor's degree first. They can just jump in with us and do the diploma program if they're over 25 years of age. And then another cool thing is that the Department of Education allows universities and seminaries to grant master's by exception status for students that come in and have an adequate GPA. So if a student comes in as a diploma student and they have at least a 3.2 GPA at the completion of 15 credits, they can appeal for master's by exception, and it's pretty much by a stroke of a pen that they get to step up to master's. So you could end up with a master's degree even though you don't have a bachelor's degree, which is a pretty sweet deal.
That is good. That's not what we don't want to tell the high school kids that, though. We'd like them to go to college and get a degree, right?
That's the more traditional track that I did and you did and most of us do. So yes, if they're not 25 yet, we say, well, get to school and get that bachelor's degree. And I would recommend Corbin University for that in Salem. In fact, the new president at Corbin University is a longtime Southern Baptist guy, John Mark Yates. And so we're talking with him about trying to re-up a sense of partnership with them as well. And he's excited about that.
That's good. So, I mean, I think that's such a good opportunity, the diploma and also being able to level up to a master's degree, because a lot of people that get called to ministry and they're not 20 or 21, they're 40 or 50 or whatever. And we've had some older students, right, in our seminary.
Yeah, well, actually, system-wide throughout Gateway Seminary with our 5 campuses and online, the average age of all of our students is like 38. So it's not, we're not just getting people coming right out of high school. We're getting people who have finished their engineering career or they've finished their military career or whatever else, and they feel, they've had a call to ministry later in life. And so they go for it. We have a man who's over 80 years old, who's a current student with us from First Baptist Church Longview. Brandon knows him. Lawson Starnes is an octogenarian who's studying with us right now. So pretty cool.
So if someone is listening and they are interested in taking a class, what would be or even enrolling, what would be the next steps for them to take? Yeah,
if they just want to talk to me to get their specific questions answered, I'd be happy to talk with them. But they could literally just go on to gs.edu. That's the website, GS for Gateway Seminary. gs.edu will take them there, and they'll see pretty prominently displayed admissions in the top. And then click on admissions, and they can find the admissions app, and they can apply. Boom! Within a half an hour, they could apply to Gateway. Now, most people, end up talking to me or someone else who knows all about the seminary quite a bit before they take that step. But literally they could apply a half hour from now, and then that would trigger the rest of the process.
Another thing I like about the seminary too, when you're all done and you graduated, you are able to audit classes and just even take a class, right? I mean, I guess you're technically auditing, and the part you said earlier about no homework, no papers, no tests, that's very. I've done 5 or 6. I've audited 5 or 6 courses since I graduated, a long time ago, and they've all been great. So it's a good way to just keep up with your, constant learning. And
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for people who aren't sure they want to lay down the tuition money and make it a big commitment, they could just audit a class for $100 and kind of sample it that way as well. Most auditors try to do the reading, but they come to class and hear the lectures, but they're absolved of needing to do the tests and the papers and everything. Don't have to turn in any assignments. So that's a good way to kind of sample just the level of communications happening. Can I understand what this professor's lecturing about, and can I make sense out of this textbook?
Yeah, it's hard to beat a class for $100. I mean, that's really, really impressive. So yeah. How about anything else you want to tell us about the seminary?
I think that's mostly it. I mean, we're trying to train people to be pastors or missionaries or chaplains or youth pastors, whatever ministry in church, but it can be just lay people as well. We have some certificates as well that are even shorter. I mentioned our shortest master's degree is the Master of Theological Essentials, 36 credits. But we have some certificate programs that are just like 15 credits, like the Bible Teaching Certificate is just Old Testament 1 and 2, New Testament 1 and 2, and Principles and Approaches to Bible Teaching. And that's something that just someone who wants to be a good Sunday school teacher or life group teacher could take that, and they get a little deeper than what they got in Sunday school. If they go through that, it would help them to teach well.
That's good. That's good. Well, thanks, Mark. Yeah, it's good to know. I think that Gateway Seminary, especially here, it may be true in other places, but is one of the best kept secrets. A lot of people don't know. I was talking to someone not long ago, and they were talking about seminary, and they had never heard of us. So
there's a lot of that going around. We gotta get the word out. We need some good infection, Jim. Help people to get infected with knowledge of Gateway.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we have not gone viral.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a big. The Portland area is so big, right? And we don't have a huge facility, and so it's easy to miss it. I think it's great though that people have driven by and just come in and try to figure out what's going on in here.
Yeah, I had a drive-by prospect this morning because we're close to Costco. People are seeing our sign, and a mom of a sharp impending high school grad, stopped by to inquire about it. So I told her, well, send him to Corbin, then he can come see us in another 4 years.
Yeah, hey, that's a good move. Just put something by Costco, and it's bound to be successful. People can go get a slice of pizza, fill up their gas, and come to class. Right?
That's awesome.
That's good. Well, everyone, thanks for listening today, and I want to encourage you to subscribe to our podcast. We call it Extra Point. We do one of typically 3 things every other week. We sometimes have a guest, like we had Mark today. We have a question box in the lobby, and you can also submit a question online. We try to answer people's questions the best we can, and then sometimes we just talk about the message from Sunday, because a lot of times as a pastor you can't say everything you want to say, and you can't really get as deep as you want to in the application and stuff like that. So it's one of those 3 things every other week, and it's just been good. So I'm glad that you guys that are listening listened, and if you go to Crosspoint, I'll see you at church on Sunday, and if not, go to church somewhere on Sunday. Mark, thank you for your time, and have a great day.
I appreciate you having me. Thanks, Jim.
Grace and peace to all of you, and have a great week.